let's switch gears now and speak to a former Minister of Aviation and a chieftain of the People's Democratic Party. In fact, one of their major strategists is Mr. Osita Chidoka, Special Advisor to Atiku Abubakar and the PDP Presidential Campaign Council. Thanks so much indeed for coming on.
Thank you very much.
Final lap.
Final lap.
Does this look like what you predicted? Did you think that the race was going to look like this?
No. We, if you think from the time of the primaries to now, nobody saw the race going like this. This is a race like no other. But of course, I had always predicted about the rise of the new voter, the change in technology. INEC's movement to adopting technology has meant that the election will change. And election has changed from political machines to getting voters. So since 2015, if you notice, the incidence of vote buying has increased because the issues have moved to the voter. Before then, it was INEC, it was police, it was collation center, it was thugs at the night, carrying ballot boxes. Now the issue has changed to getting voters. So I think we've made progress. So I could have predicted that elections are going to get more sophisticated, more technology-driven. And then, of course, the level of literacy and young people coming up in Nigeria has also risen tremendously. And the internet has made the world a global village. So we're watching what's happening around the world. We're all watching CNN. We're watching Brazil. We're watching Malaysia. So we're all seeing what's going on around the world.
Politics is getting interesting across the globe. And it does look like younger people and a lot of things people are agitating for different things in different climes. But it does look to me that the battle your candidate, Atiku Abubakar, faced the last time compared to this time are totally different. He's perhaps facing more internal troubles than he faced in 2019.
Yes, in 2019, there was an incumbent president. So there was a mobilization against a sitting government. It's always easy to mobilize against an incumbent. When an incumbent is not in the ballot, then there's a tendency for there to be, dissipation of energy in terms of a lot of people think that that's the best time to try to, get a shot. So most people will run when the incumbent is not running. So it's a different ball game in this election.
I mean, that's an odd. I mean, he wasn't facing as much internal troubles as he faced in 2019. This is much more than he could probably chew. For example, he couldn't campaign in Rivers State. I mean, is that an odd too much?
No. This is a more serious issue. It's a far more deeper, serious issue. I had expected the president and INEC to have reacted to the issue where a governor can say to a party, we're withdrawing the permit we gave you to campaign. And where he's saying, you must campaign in one area and not the other. If Nigerians know our history, part of the problems that led to the 1966 coup was the fact that parties from the South couldn't campaign in the North. When Michael Okpara wanted to go to campaign in Katsina, as he left Kaduna, he was blocked by a sea of cattle on the road. They didn't allow him pass. So he went back to Kaduna that night, and the catering rest house in Kaduna said there was no vacancy. So he couldn't even get a place to sleep. This was the reason the framers of the 1979 Constitution and the 1999 Constitution made electoral matters a national issue. So there is a deep disturbing signal that a state government can take a decision that will impact a national election.
But are you saying it in the ramification that your party is also unable to resolve that?
So it's not even a party matter anymore.
Well, it was a party. It stemmed from a party issue.
It's not a party matter anymore. And it became... It is the fact that a governor is not a partisan person in that role as a governor. When you are acting as a governor, it's not a partisan position. You are acting as a guarantor and a trustee, a man sworn to uphold the Constitution of Nigeria. You have no right at that moment, acting as the governor of a state, to act in a partisan manner.
I mean, Rivers State is not a state that your party wants to lose. Your party has won Rivers State many times over.
Yes.
If you lose Rivers State, does your candidate still stand a chance?
He does stand a chance. But I'm just saying that this is beyond the issue of losing the election. I'm calling the attention of the country that something egregious, something terrible has happened to our democracy.
Has it been officially transmitted to the authorities beyond you saying it tonight?
Yes, our party is going to take stands about that, and I'm sure they are communicating. Our party is communicating with INEC and the presidency, and I'm even shocked that both the Inspector General, both the Department of State Security did not see the security threat of a party trying to hold a rally in a location and they being shot at by supposedly policemen. This is serious matter. This is very grievous matter. I think the nation should take it serious.
Yeah. We'll come into some of the details of how this election will pan out. There is a recent poll that is in favor of your candidate, the one released by Polaf. There are several other ones that didn't give your candidate a chance. I'll get your reactions on that. And perhaps with these 5 states that is getting off the fingers of your party going into this election, what are your chances? We'll talk about that when we return from this break, everyone. Join us again. Thank you so much indeed, everyone. Let's get back to the conversation with Mr. Osita Chidoka, a former Minister of Aviation. Thank you so much indeed for tonight. So I'm looking at the political map of 2019 and making comparison between what is going on now. The APC controls more states. Your party had probability of the 5 states that is in contention right now that PDP holds, but then looks like that there are issues with them. But the last time, you gave a very sweet description of how the victory pathway of Atiku Abubakar in this election.
Yes.
How do you think that can happen?
The pathway is still there. Still there.
How?
Okay, let me tell you something.
Okay, so I'm happy traditionally,
you had Ojikalo on this show.
Traditionally,
yes. The
APC wins 70% of Southeast. Traditionally, the PDP rather wins. This has happened for over 4 elections or 5 election cycles.
Yes.
Traditionally, the PDP wins about 85-90% of the South.
Yes.
This time around, that doesn't look like a possibility.
And traditionally,
does it?
The PDP averages 20% in the Northwest and Northeast, at the times when we used to average 70-80 in the South. So PDP needed a new configuration to win power. We needed to go to the vote bank of the country and make ourselves come up to about 50%. So it's costing us votes in the Southeast and South. That's fine. But that pathway has not led us to winning an election. Buhari has won elections without winning in the Southeast and South, because you need a combination of states to win. That 24 is an obstacle. And that majority of votes is another obstacle to cross. So now, what is important about an election is the boots on ground. Our 109 senatorial candidates are strong candidates. They will be on the ballot on that Saturday. They are strong candidates. In 2019, I don't know if you know this. President Buhari got 25% in Abia State. He got 25% in Abia State. And do you know where that 25% came from? It came from about just 4 local governments, the majority of them. I didn't know until this year that APC defeated PDP in Ben, the local government, Oju Zakalu's local government. Did you know that? That PDP lost a local government
in Abia
State to APC, to President Buhari, a man that most people could swear that the Southeast will not vote for.
Yeah.
But because, do you know that APC won in Umunnochi and Isukwato? These are the constituencies of Nkiro Onyajocha, who was running for the House of Reps, and Ojikalo, who was running for Senate. So when you have strong candidates on ground, it's not easy to write off the party. So despite APC being in power in Bauchi State, Governor Bala Mohammed defeated the APC and became governor. With APC at the center, APC as governor, Bala Mohammed defeated them. Governor Fintiri defeated an incumbent APC governor, defeated with an APC president in office, and PDP came.
These are extraordinary cases.
They're not extraordinary.
No, but these are unusual. So the reason why I'm asking that question is this. And I thank God that you ran for governor,
yes.
For the governorship race in your state. So you understand that there are the unusual circumstances where you find an incumbent being defeated in a state that has been traditionally controlled by a particular political party. What happened in Taraba, in Adamawa, and what happened in Bauchi, yes, you will consider them as extraordinary situation when an incumbent was defeated. When an incumbent, what happened in 2015 was extraordinary.
No. Because an incumbent was just defeated.
So they are extraordinary situations.
No, they're not extraordinary.
They are unusual.
What is happening? No, what the lesson there is that there is a difference between just incumbency and factors to mobilization. People forgot that Bauchi was predominantly a PDP state right from Governor Muazu's time. So activating that PDP structure, working with that PDP structure is critical to getting that result you saw. Mm-hmm. The same thing in Adamawa. So what I'm saying to you now is that despite the noise from the people who discuss politics, there are the reality that there will be political players on the field, House of Rep candidates, senatorial candidates, who are boots on the ground, who have canvassers on the ground, who have agents on the ground, who have people they are pulling out on the ground on that day. That is the power of the PDP. So we may not win as we used to win in some areas, but we're also getting new areas that are going to deliver us more votes. So it's a balancing act. We're trying to build that combination. And I'm looking at, I was reading the newspapers today, and a few of the newspapers took the story of the Polaf poll, yes, which gave Atiku Abubakar, from the over 3,000 random sampled, that they got over 165 local government areas, in 20 of the 36 states, and they said they called 418 pollsters. That poll says that Atiku might lose Southwest, that Tinubu might win Southwest. And then it's saying that Atiku might win South-South and also win North-Central and the Northeast and the Northwest. How realistic is that? Very realistic projections. All the polls I've read, I don't know the Polaf, I don't know the poll, but all the polls I've read point to one thing. I don't think I have seen any poll that says Atiku will not win the Northeast and the Northwest. So I don't think that's in contention. But the margin between that they gave here in the Northeast is a very close one within the APC and the PDP. And I guess because the APC candidate, vice presidential candidate, is from the Northeast. Yeah, so there is a realization that there will be a tough battle. In the Northeast will be a battleground. So if you look at the Northeast of the 6 states, so the battleground will probably be Borno and Yobe. Mm-hmm. For most of Adamawa, Bauchi, Taraba, Gombe, PDP will do very well in those states. Now, if you come to the Northwest, PDP will do well in Sokoto, KB, Zamfara. They will do well in Katsina. Will do very well in Why do you think you will do well in Katsina? Yes. Don't you think that Muhammadu Buhari, who is the sitting president and a leader of the APC, yes, will want to win Katsina for himself? Well, unfortunately, I don't think he can, because you see, he has delivered, insecurity to the people of Katsina. They're not as happy as they used to be in Katsina. So they are looking at themselves and they're thinking, what have we got for this? What have you done for us lately? So there is also a pushback in that against the party, not even the candidate this time, against the party in the Northwest. The North Central is going to be a little tighter from what I see now. There will be a share in the Northwest. Atiku will get some, Tinubu will get some, the Labour Party will get some, Peter Obi will get some. So the Northwest will be, the North Central will be split, in my view. In fact, there is the projection based on these polls says that both Tinubu and Atiku will almost neck and neck, but by a little margin will Atiku win in the North Central. But there is an acceptance from this poll that Southwest will be a neck and neck between Atiku and Peter Obi. Why? Southeast. In the Southwest. Southwest. But that they're giving it to Bola Tinubu. Yes. I think so. I think Bola Tinubu will win the Southwest, predominantly. I think so. But I think that in most places outside of Lagos, PDP will be second in the Southwest. In Osun, if we don't win Osun, we will come second. In Oyo, we will come second if we don't win. And in Ondo and Ekiti. In Lagos, it's going to be a different ball game. There's Labour Party will play strongly in Lagos, same with APC, but PDP will get some good votes.
Would you consider that this election will perhaps be maybe the toughest contest ever in our political history? No, say in the Fourth Republic.
So far, so yes, it will be a tough contest. Because anytime there is a binary choice, things are easier. And this is the first time since this democracy started that we have the 3 major ethnic groups in an election. So, and people from 4 zones in an election. So we have Kwankwanso from the northwest, we have Atiku from the northeast, we have Tinubu from the southwest, we have Peter Obi from the southeast. The 4 major zones in the country are in the race.
Only another major zone, the north central, is not represented.
And the south-south. Yes, the south-south is not in the race.
Okay, we have a few. So, we have a few north central candidates around there. But the front runners,
the 4 horse race.
Your party never gave Peter Obi a chance.
But I don't think that was a party position.
No, I've spoken to a lot of the leaders of your party.
Yes.
They never gave Peter Obi a chance. But those who believe that, in fact, is the joker in this election, that it might spring a surprise and win it.
In fact, unless, the older people may not have given him a chance, knowing the difficulties in bringing out voters, knowing what happens on election day, those who have contested elections, I'm sure even Peter Obi himself will know, will have thought that. But a lot has changed in Nigeria. A lot has changed with possibility of the capacity to mobilize online. A lot has changed with the capacity to excite and capture the imagination of voters across large areas without actual physical structure. So that has given him some mileage. And I knew that was going to happen because in 2017, I tried that in terms of using a digital format. And what happened was that I excited a lot of people in Anambra, but the ground operation, that thing that holds the parties together, the people that will come out on election day, the people that will do the work, was a missing part in my campaign in that time. So I hope that, and I think it takes time to build because even Buhari had the same experience.
All right. Let's go for another quick break and we'll be back. And for those, if we go by the poll that has been in favor of Peter Obi, I'd like to ask you what that could mean for our democracy. Let's get back from this break and we get into that conversation. A closing moment now with Mr. Osita Chidoka. Thank you so much for staying with us. So I was asking you, this election, a lot of people see that it's going to spring a lot of surprises.
Yes.
And if most of the polls that have come out favor Mr. Peter Obi, for example, what would that do to your own permutations?
I think there's something far more fundamental going on. It's the message Nigerians are sending to the political parties is that it is not business as usual. And that message is important because the 2 political parties are now being run like electoral vehicles, like Molue buses. So they are not being run caring about their base. They don't think about who are the person who normally will vote PDP. That person is probably Southern, he's probably middle class, he's probably educated. So you need to figure out who your voters are and you need to pander to them to keep them. So what the message is telling us, using the people who are able to talk on the phone, the momentum of the labor movement, is that Nigerians are saying enough of these 2 political parties taking us for granted. So I believe post-2019 election, the first thing that most 2023 election is a rebirth of the political parties. A rebirth of the political parties to go back to the issues that are important to those who vote for them.
Has your candidate been able to do that?
Yes.
Do you resonate with the people?
So our candidate is a candidate that has all it takes to deliver the key ingredients of the Nigerian state. Now, let me explain that. Where Nigeria is today now, everybody knows that Atiku Abubakar is a safe choice because they know that if you want to engage with the issues of insecurity, with the herdsmen farmers crisis, if you want to engage with insurrection and banditry going on in the Northwest, if you want to tame the public bureaucracy that are spiraling out of control, if you want to control Nigeria's debt as it is today and stem the borrowing going on, if you want to get the state governments to align again with the federal government in pursuit of national goals, if you want to get the National Assembly not just to be a rubber stamp, but to be an active partner in making Nigeria work, everybody knows that Atiku Abubakar is prepared for that job. So if you ask most Nigerians, even when they say they are angry with PDP and will vote another candidate, if you say, what's their second choice? They will tell you it's Atiku Abubakar. So the idea behind it is that this is a safe choice. Nigeria is in a crossroad. Atiku Abubakar is prepared from day one to tackle these challenges. He's not going to be thinking how to form a government. He knows the issues. And very importantly, he is a player in the Nigerian economy. He knows what it means to have 800 naira diesel to run a university.
So what would an Atiku victory mean immediately for Nigeria?
It will calm the tension in the country. It will reassure all our bondholders, debt holders across the world. It will reassure the international community that sensible economic plan will come to place, that evidence-based governance will come to play, that a man who would like to own and run an American university, a man who responds to his emails, a man who responds to people on his WhatsApp messages, a man who has lived across the world, a man who understands the language of the universe is now in power in Nigeria. I think it will mean something fundamental to everybody, that a man who understands the imperative of modern education. He's a northerner with very modern instincts, and they know that what will happen to Nigeria immediately is that I believe that our bondholders, our debtors will easily come to table. They know there's going to be sensible economic policy.
For those who had done the permutation that should Atiku Abubakar lose this time around,
yes,
that goes the end of PDP.
That is not correct. That is not correct. The debt of PDP has been over-exaggerated. And I will assure you that the PDP was formed as the umbrella party to take power from the military and bring democracy to Nigeria. That we achieved from 1999 to 2015. We deepened democracy in Nigeria. We made it possible for the card reader to come into effect that made us lose the election. We made it possible for Nigeria to be a debt-free nation. We made it possible for Nigeria to know what it means for the two arms of government to work. When there were issues against the nation, PDP legislators worked against the PDP president. When there were contradictions in the country, PDP governors stood up against the PDP president. We've had our internal contradictions, we've had our disagreements, but we remain the party that does not have that leader that will determine our fate.
We are doing to close now. Just this in 20 seconds. Should Atiku Abubakar win, do you think he's a man who will concede like Jonathan?
Should he win?
Should he lose?
Should he lose? Oh yes, if he loses in a free and fair election, Atiku Abubakar is a Democrat. He has lost elections. He is one of the reasons why I think Nigerians should give him a chance is that he is a man coming to power chastened by his past, humbled by his experiences, who has been in touch,
criticized by his opponents of wanting to do away with most of the assets of the country to perhaps some of his friends.
That is that is a false narrative. The narrative is that government in Nigeria today needs to do that restructuring that we're all talking about. Government doing business is part of the bondage holding Nigeria together. What he's simply saying is that we are going to decentralize it.
All right.
We are going to allow the states and the local governments to run Nigeria from bottom up and not from top down.
Osita Chidoka, a chieftain of the PDP, an advisor to Atiku Abubakar and the PDP PCC, a former aviation minister. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure.
Thank you very much.
I guess before, maybe that will be after the election, we'll be able to get together and look through some of your notes. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
I look forward to that.